So on this slide, we're just going to talk in general about students with disabilities leaving high school, and these will be for these statistics will be for the United States, high school students in the United States. The graduation rate for students with disability is about 60%, which is quite a bit lower than the 80% graduation rate for the general population. Dropout rates, of course, vary by states and by disability category. You know, it would probably be much more likely for a child with a mild learning disability or a speech impairment, more likely for them to graduate from high school maybe than someone who is more severely disabled. If we look at post-secondary education, students with disabilities are less likely to enroll in college. I'm not sure what the statistics are for any kind of like training programs that I'm not finding the right word I want to say, but technical training programs, job training programs, you know, post-secondary school type things, what those statistics are. But students with disabilities are less likely to enroll in college. And of course, those with more severe disabilities are less likely to enroll than those with minor disabilities. If we look at employment status, there was a study in that your book talks about, the NLTS2 study, and they found that the employment rate for young adults with disabilities is about 57%. And this is during the first 4 years they're out of high school. So there is a lot of problems with unemployment for adults with disabilities and underemployment. Like they may be able to get a job, but maybe it's just a part-time job. They're not able to get a full-time job or a job they desire. And on this next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about this NLTS2 study. You can see about 49% of young adults participated in some type of community social activities outside of work or school in the preceding year. So usually they get involved in some type of community activity, which is good. Social activities are very good. Now, there is a problem with some students with disabilities getting in trouble with the law. You can see about 28% of out of high school youth had been arrested at some time, compared to 12% in the general population. And that's maybe because they lack things to do and they don't have a purpose because they're not in college or they don't have the type of job maybe that they want. There could be various reasons for that. And only 60% of youth with disabilities ages 15 to 19 reported that they thought of themselves as able to handle challenges or feeling useful and important. So they might have some self-esteem problems or feelings that they don't have a lot of good self-worth. And I meant to mention when we talked about work, that underemployment for those with disabilities is a big concern for families, because if the adult child can't work and contribute, then the family kind of has to take up the slack on supporting that child and helping them out financially. Now, some children who are disabled will be able to qualify for Social Security disability, but that's not a lot of money per month that they would be getting, but it would help the family some. So we've talked about transition services, and there's a couple of models, and you can read more details in your book, but one of these is the Wills-Bridges model of school to work transition. And it has 3 levels of service. There's kind of a generic level that they offer to everyone. There's some time limited transition services. So maybe students would get services at, you know, for a certain period of time. And then there's ongoing support, like maybe there is a social worker or someone checking in with the young adult. some people who work with students in transition see this Wills Bridges model as too limited. So there's another model called Halpern's three-dimensional model, and it has 3 different domains. And it gets into a little more detail about the quality of the residential environment. Is the child going to remain at home? Are they going to go to a group setting? You know, what is their residential environment going to be? And then it looks at the adequacy of their social or interpersonal network. Do they have family support still? Do they have friends that they can count on? Or somebody to support them? And then it deals with meaningful employment for the adult with the disabilities. Now, with that federal law, IDEA, they do require certain things of transition services. They want it to be a results-oriented process based on the student's individual needs and preferences. So the young adult has a say in what their transition services look like. And hopefully these transition services will facilitate movement to post-school activities. So transition services can cover a wide range of needs or needed areas. And you can see a list here. Like it'll get into post-secondary education. Is college an option, or would some type of training model be better, like a vocational education training program? It looks at integrated employment. There are some employers who will provide support for disabled workers. Continuing and adult education is another area. Do they need help from adult services? Like, do they need someone overseeing their financial matters, their medical needs, things like that? Can they live independently, or do other arrangements need to be looked into? And community participation. How much can the adult be involved in the community? And again, that community participation is important for a feeling of well-being and just social. We're all social beings, and we need to get as much help as we can, help and support as we can. So we'll get into some more details about what these transition services look like as we go on.